Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lower, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are doubting, I dare to show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this brace, I'm going in a new gear, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Hey, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, I can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving it energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen, now we not a minute late. Seen them down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Come down and I'll meet them at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen, now we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, Mafia? I just stubbed my toe so bad. Oh my God. What is going on, Mafia? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, we're good. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And guys, we got Ethereum getting the potential breakout of our major levels of resistance. We're going to go over Bitcoin as well as we attempt to hold a key level of support here, two major key levels of support, one macro level of support, and we are potentially attempting to hold this local value area high as support. We're going to break down the levels for you guys on Bitcoin. If you just came from that market update that we dropped, the Ethereum market update that we dropped, we're going to take a look at Ethereum, guys. We got the dominance attempting. It looks like that dominance just wants to go down here, guys. But we're going to cover the bullish case, the bearish case. I'm going to let you guys know which way I'm leaning. If you guys watch this show at all, you will know we have been leaning more bullish as we see this money flow coming up on the higher time frames, especially for the altcoins. Dominance coming down. Rate cuts coming down the line. The Fed Watch tool is predicting in the 90% for the rate cut to come in September. So that has gone up a little bit since yesterday. But again, we'll keep a close eye on that. This is likely going to change until we hit the FOMC meeting. But we got a lot to talk about today. Very nice to see Ethereum crack above that $4,500 level. We've been looking at that not only today, but the other Ethereum update that I dropped a couple days ago and our long-term Ethereum price prediction video that we posted weeks ago, looking for this to play out. So very, very nice to see. We're going to show the trades. I'm going to talk about my trading plan, how I'm personally handling this price action. So shout out to the Candle Mafia. Thank you, guys. I already see like the bull market chats in here. Bull market's on, baby. But yeah, we're going to, I'm going to give you guys a realistic view of the market. Although I am bullish, we have to be aware that, nothing goes up in a straight line forever. So if we do get those pullbacks, I'll have you guys ready for those key levels of support where I will be looking for longs or new longs on Bitcoin and the altcoins. So shout out to the Mafia. We got Gen Z in the chat said, hey, yo, bing bong. Shout out to Gen Z. Welcome in, bro. We got Bob Riley in the chat says, big day. Let's go. Shout out to Bob Riley. We got Mark in the chat said, Ada Pump is nice to see. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got Perry in the chat. Nirvana. Jesse. Hey, I don't know if this is true, but shout out to Jesse. Happy birthday. I think he said we had 16 minutes. We must be coming up to like that last minute here. So happy birthday to Jesse, guys. Show him some love in the chat. Drop some birthday cakes in the chat for our like police. Shout out to you, Jesse. We wish you a happy birthday, bro. Genuinely from the bottom of my heart. You always come in here and you're always hanging out in chat and you're always pushing those likes. So we appreciate you endlessly. So shout out to you, man. Shout out to Spiritual Trady. Says, how much for that sweaty hat? 1 ETH. Shout out to Spiritual Tradie. Man, you want the game-worn sweaty Frankie Candles hat? Hey, I'll give it to you for free, bro. Shout out to Spiritual Tradie. Thank you for the super chat, bro. That super chat is enough for the hat. But yeah, guys, we got a lot to talk about today. Show some love to our mods in the chat. I'm not sure exactly who we have in here today. We could pretty much consider Jesse one. We got Darren Does Things in the chat saying, here we go. Show the mods. We got Darren Does Things, Tyler Durden, Rob the Crypto Stomp, Captain Kirk, Crypto Billy, Crypto A9. You guys know who they are. Chemistry, bro. Show them some love in the chat. And I don't want to waste too much time here because we do have a lot to look at today, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys. Whew. I mean, I'm kind of hyped to get into the altcoins, to be quite honest with you guys. But we are going to cover Bitcoin here. As you guys know, we were looking at this key level of support on our $118,000 to $118,300 POC. This was our major level of resistance on the way up here, guys, sitting on that point of control. It wasn't just the POC, guys. We had the POC. We had a bunch of weekly naked. We had a weekly naked point of control, daily MPOC. We had a monthly MPOC, I believe, in there. We had a ton of key levels in here to look at. And the nice thing here is we did flip that to support. We got the pop to the upside, the drop back down. But we are now retesting that as support and currently holding it. I'm going to talk about the potential drop back to the downside and where I'll be looking at for our next big long positions, guys. But this is a very important volume profile that I will be watching. This is our previous range that we had been looking at, but I have now extended that all the way to the current price action as we looked at yesterday. Value area high sitting here at $119,769. POC sitting at $118,250, which is $242, which is literally that big key level of support that we were looking at. I'm only going to talk about the POC here just for simplicity's sake. I don't want to bring up all the 3 or 4 key levels that we had in there, but POC sitting here at about 118,242, and then we have the value area low sitting closer to about 116,344. So I will be treating this as a typical volume profile, guys, but right now we are attempting to hop on top of this value area high. Now, obviously, this is a potential area where we could look for resistance for more than one reason, right? As you deviate above these volume profiles, sometimes this is just a deviation, or a lot of the time it is just a deviation above the high with a return. Crazy thunder outside. I don't know if you guys heard that. This mic is pretty tight. But literally just shook the studio here. But if we do get back into that volume profile, guys, we could be talking about a little bit more of a retracement. And then if we do lose that $118,000 level, guys, this is a big level, but I don't know. This would not just flip me more long-term bearish just yet. We do also, if we lose that POC, we will have that value area low sitting down here at 116,344. And we actually do have a lot of support down here. We have a bunch of confluence down there. So I will talk about that today as well. But the question is, are we just going to get the squeeze up here for the push back to the upside? We'll talk about the probabilities. We'll take a look at market cipher B. And to be quite honest here, guys, we already got the deviation above this profile. We got back in. We got the push down to that POC. I mean, if this holds, I'm not going to lie, guys, this is a pretty important level of support. Wouldn't it be impossible to see this push to the upside? So I would say shorter term, I am kind of like cautiously optimistic. I am holding multiple long positions. We now have a new long position that we took in the premium Discord here from this point of control. Got that entry in there just in time. Let me see. I think I do have this pulled up. Let me see here. Bada boom. Yeah, so this one is now up 804. I mean, we looked at this on the market update that I just dropped, but now we're up 804. I did cover my fees here, which wound up giving me a little bit of locked-in profit, but up 803 on that long position over here on Femex. Not too bad. Entered that position yesterday, but, I am also holding a scalp short position here, but as I was mentioning in the update, guys, I almost prefer, it would just be so much nicer here because if I stop out of this short position, it's going to be a very, very small loss, and then all of my longs, I'm holding multiple longs from lower, they will continue to pay me out, so not only am I taking a small stop on that short, but I am also going to get paid out, very, very nicely on those long positions, including now the new long that we took in the premium Discord down here from about $118,000. So if I had an emotional bias here, emotional preference, I would just like to squeeze up here, guys. But let's take a look at market cipher B and kind of see what that reality would look like if we could continue this push to the upside. I would say a big key level locally that we would have to hold is this value area high sitting at about 119,800. Because once we wind up getting back in here, it does open up the door to potentially come back to that POC, lose the POC, and then come back down to the value area low. And just to talk kind of long-term scenarios here, or not long-term, but medium-term scenarios here, guys, as we look inside this range, it's listen, if we have to lose this $118,000 level, I am not too concerned because, like I said, we do have a lot of support down here at the value area low, and if we cannot get above that value area high and we get accepted back in, come back down to the POC, lose that POC and come down to the low, Let me get my arrow here. We do have, nice confluence here at the value area low. Obviously, we do have that CME gap. We also have a daily level down here. Again, daily coming in at 116.5. Value area low, 116.344. And I do believe we have some other levels down there as well. We have a daily MPOC at 116.587. And you can just see here, guys, when we are looking for trades, we like to find those areas that have a lot of confluence. And you just see that starting to build up here with all these levels. And we also have the CME gap down there as well. I actually don't have it marked off on this chart. I just updated this chart, so I don't have it marked off here, but I do believe it is sitting right in this exact same zone. So if we do have to come back down, I am short from here as well. I've not been stopped out yet, so I will stop out of the long position. Short continues to pay me out. This drop to the downside would not hurt my other long positions that I'm holding, or it wouldn't hurt them very badly, right? I'm happy coming down for another retracement, continuing to hold those long positions, but the next major high time frame key level of support is going to be sitting down there at the value area low, and at the end of the day, it's not super impossible to get that rotation back down to the low, because when we got this deviation up, we got the deviation up here above the value area high yesterday, right? We already came down to the POC. If we can't break out of this, right, you get the deviation back to the POC. If you can't bust out here, right, you're going to be looking for that full rotation of the profile, which in my opinion would be a decent pullback to come fill that CME gap, come tap these big levels of support. So I would be looking at our next key level of support sitting right down here at about, let's call it 116.6 all the way down to about 116.3. I wish, we could try to pull an anchor VWAP here. This is not going to line up. Yeah, we're already past that. I wish we had if this was our full Fibonacci retracement, it's not that far away, the golden pocket. But if we had this super confluent here, I would feel so good about this level. And I do still feel pretty decent about this level, but I would just be beautiful confluence on that golden pocket. But I guess if you pull it from the higher low, you do have that golden pocket confluence. This is a valid fib pull, in my opinion. So I'll actually extend that down to about 116,000, right? 116.6 to 116K. If we do have to go for that bigger retracement down, bada boom, bada bing, test that golden pocket. Hopefully we can get back up through the profile and then eventually see that bigger rip to the upside. But I am hoping, right? If I just, again, had an emotional bias here, emotional preference, I would rather just rip up here, have our new long position from down here play out, all the longs from lower play out. That would be absolutely beautiful. But of course, if we get that drop to the downside, I'm going to capitalize and make some money on the way down, because the Mafia makes money whether price is going up or down, guys. The beautiful thing about trading, if you miss the long, you can catch the short. I caught the long and the short, but there's always a move whether price is going up or down. You can make money in these markets. You don't have to be a slave to the bull market, although it does seem like we might be entering that final exciting phase of the bull market to see those altcoins go crazy. And again, I do just want to manage expectations here, guys. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to hit all-time highs in the next day or so. Just remember that, right? We could still see bigger retracements. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. We'll take a look at Total 3. Maybe we'll take a look at others. But another thing that just kind of looks strong here, in my opinion, is we did have the SPY putting in a new all-time high here. Somebody was telling me, Frankie, yesterday someone was asking me to look at the stock market and be like, well, Frankie, what would happen if you saw the stock market dump? Would that drag crypto down? And I would still say, if we see the stock market dump, right, obviously that's going to fall into crypto as well. But I would just still be bullish, right? If we came down here to retest the range highs, I would just be inclined to look for another bounce, to be quite honest with you guys. We do have some key levels down here, but seeing the SPY put in another high here is absolutely beautiful. And again, this could, we have the rate cuts coming in at, I think, 94.6% or something like that, which is very nice. Remember, rate cuts is something that we will generally need to see when you want that alt season to come in. And I also kind of, talking about managing expectations, right? Not in a bad way, but just to let you guys know, right, if we see those rate cuts, if you see a sell the news event, right, because the higher those predictions go, we might start to price that into the market a little bit early, especially on the altcoins. Just understand, right, when they cut those rates, you could potentially see a little bit of a sell the news event, and then it might take a little bit of time for that liquidity to find itself into those risk-on assets in the way that we would like them to see everything start to rip like everybody wants. So just keep that in mind, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line. I never want people to think just because we're bullish here, it does not mean that if you have to buy right this second and it's going to go up in a straight line. You have to be aware of those pullbacks, and I'll have you guys prepared for those key levels down below on the altcoins, and now you are prepared here on Bitcoin as well. So on the bigger pullback, I don't think, if we do see the pullback here, I don't think we're just going to nuke through these levels by tomorrow, right? We'll obviously touch base before that, but just all eyes on that 116.6 to $116,000 zone, value area low, golden pocket, daily MPOC. Do we have some other stuff in there potentially as well? Let me just, no weeklies, no monthlies. Let me see. No low ticks. Weekly MPOC in there as well. So you can just see that confluence stacking up here, guys. And it doesn't guarantee that you're going to reject from it. But obviously, if you're looking for high probability reactions, this is what you want. When I say you want to set traps in the market when you're looking for trades, these are the traps I'm talking about, right? You want to see all that bait, right? You can look at it as bait if you're looking at it from the trap metaphor, right, or analogy, whatever. You have these nice like confluent levels, right? So just keep that in mind. If we do get the bigger retracement, this is the next high time frame support level. Once we start breaking down below there, we can cross that bridge when we get there, and we'll talk about potential bigger corrections coming down. But for now, $116,600 to $116,000, the bigger level of support. And then if we dive in here locally, right, obviously $118,300, the point of control is going to be key support, as it is every single time you're within a volume profile. If we break back down here, right, at that point, it's like you lose that POC. I'm definitely looking down here. So locally, 118, 118,242 at the POC, and then the higher time frame level would be 116,600 to $116,000, 115,999. So there you go. And not only are we fighting the value area high here, guys, but anchor VWAP from the high as well. Like, whoo, baby, we are trying. We are attempting to hold that anchored VWAP, guys. We got to get above that, because if we reject this, get pushed back into the profile, that's where we could look for that bigger move to the downside. And, obviously my short will pay me out. This is not one of my lower longs. This is my newest long from yesterday. But I'd probably stop out of that and just have that short pay us out. But yeah, just to give you guys the key local levels, value area high of resistance, right? Value area high, 119,769. Anchored VWAP sitting right here at about 119, almost 120K. So you really got to get above that anchored VWAP. That is a big level. And then obviously you'll also be above that value area high at the time. But we do have some local bearish divergences forming here. So maybe we get back in. I'll keep an eye on this throughout the rest of the live stream. And then like the higher levels of resistance, guys, to be quite honest with you, there's not too much above us. We do have an anchored VWAP. We do have a daily MPOC sitting up here. Let me see if I can pull that up. Is a little bit of a low tick daily MPOC, or where is it? Let me see here. Yeah, so we do have some low tick MPOCs, and when I say low tick, I just mean you can just look at these as like they're more like noise, right? Like you could think of it as like time frames, right? If you have like a high tick daily MPOC, I'm not going to explain it in full, but like the higher tick MPOCs are going to be like, they're going to delete, when you look at your, for example, I look for my MPOCs on exo charts. When you have that tick size up, right, delete some of that noise. These are lower tick, so they are MPOCs. They're just not as strong as like a high tick MPOC. Like for example, a 5-minute support level would not be held as strongly as like a daily support level or a weekly support level. The higher up those time frames you go, the stronger those levels. It's kind of the same thing when you move up in tick size. But we do have one here at about 121,337, and then another one sitting up here at about 122,707. Again, I am considering these a little bit. Yeah, I just think if you get the breakout here, you could just get the squeezes. I will be aware of these levels. I will be looking for potential scalp shorts up there. But again, I would prefer to potentially see, this one's, I don't really know how I feel about that one. Let me pull it up on trading view. Yeah, you have a trading view MPOC up here at about 122,164. So you have some levels here. This will be a low tick MPOC as well. But honestly, there's not too much up there. And if we come up here, I'll make updates and stuff and keep you guys in the loop on what I'm looking at here, if I take a short position, etc. But not too much above us here, right? Because once you break out of this range, you're hoping for that, push back up into all-time highs, or at least I am personally, right? And then if we do push up in all-time highs, before we move into the altcoins, I will cover some of the bigger resistance levels above, right? What if we go into new all-time highs, Frankie? Are we going to 200K from here? Well, obviously, we do have some pretty big levels, right? The big bull market targets here, guys, as you know, sitting up here. My first major Fibonacci extension zone sits at about $137,000. This is likely not going to be the first place that we reject. We'll have local levels in here as well. So just to bring up some of those as well, if we do break the high, I'm going to be looking between about 125,000 into about 130,000. I have a couple of fibs pulled here, so it is a little bit noisy up here, but 125,000, it's a nice even, right, like psychological number, right? It's that nice rounded number. So you have 126 to 125K, and I'll just kind of mark that out here, right? So that could be a local level if we do break the high to look to push into. And then like really the next big level is about 130,000, 129.7. And then you have this kind of middle zone, which I wouldn't pay as much attention to, but these are always going to be zones, guys, right? So that first zone is going to be sitting right here. I'll just hide this to make it a little simpler to look at. right, between 125 and 126K, right? And then we push into this zone, right? It's very hard for me to say, guys, like we're going to rip through here and then get the rejection from here. But I would expect that to come in between 125 all the way up to about $130,000. This is the next local Fibonacci extension zone. But long term, guys, I will say I will be looking for some higher targets up here at about $137,000. If we can crack up in there and start to form a top up here on Bitcoin, I'm not saying you can't go above 137 or 155, but you know, I like to be conservative with the targets because at the end of the day, guys, we don't just have to look at one target and wait for it to get hit, right? If the top looks like it's coming in at 137, right, and it looks very unlikely that we're going to get up to that 156K zone, you're going to want to know that, right? So this is the next big zone I will be looking at. If we get up here, maybe it looks really good and we can look higher, but as of right now, between 137 and 155K is really what I'm going to be looking at up here in that bigger bull market Fibonacci extension zone. So very nice to see, and again, I'm not saying you have to come up there right now, but I do just want you guys, more realistically, just be aware of those local levels, 125 to 126K next, if we do crack the all-time high. And then if not, right, we are ready for that pullback into our current value area low, where we have all that support and confluence down at about $116,600 to $116,000. So that's what we're looking at. We'll see if the short plays out. Hopefully we could tune in tomorrow and talk about this short being stopped out and the long is just running. It's always more fun when you go up because, everybody's more excited. But, that's not going to stop me from grabbing some money here sitting on the computer. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Now, when we take a look at Market Cypher B, guys, another thing, right, another reason why I'm not just saying like guaranteed rip to the upside is because you do have that daily VWAP coming down here. Money flow still looks good, but we can watch that daily VWAP coming down to the zero line. Once that crosses over, we will have the daily red dot, which could, indicate that little correction to the downside. And then hopefully we don't have to lose that level. If we do, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But on top of that, our 12-hour money flow and red dot did end up printing. Didn't really give us that much, though, which is very, very nice to see, which is why I kind of sit here in a short, head short and long positions, right? I'm like in a pretty comfortable position right now. Just kind of stop out of the short, longs play out, stop out of the, first local long that we took yesterday or the latest local long that we took yesterday in the Discord, get stopped out of that small position for the short to play out. But all my other longs will continue to pay me. But it's kind of hard to say here, right? Because this money flow is still trending down, right? And then when we look at the 8-hour, did this confirm yet? Okay, yeah, no. So we do have the VWAP coming up on the 8-hour. We do have some mixed signals here on Market Cypher B on the medium time frame. So, I'm not going to really call for like a low time. Like I am just sitting in a long or in multiple longs and one short. I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. Luckily, I don't have to like stress out about that. But, it is kind of hard to call like, could we squeeze up? Yes. Do we have low time frame bearish divergences, some medium time frame red dots looking to print, 2-hour red dot looking to print as well here. So, I'm not really going to pay too much attention or not. I'm not going to focus too much on the medium time frames here. I'm just waiting. If it does this, beautiful. If it does that, beautiful. Guaranteed winning trades. So very, very nice. And you might say to yourself, well, Frankie, if you get stopped out of the long, how do you have guaranteed winning trades? It's because all the other longs are profits locked in, stop losses to break even. So if it really continues down, I get stopped out of all my longs. I'm just cha-ching, right? Stop loss hit, cha-ching, stop loss hit, cha-ching, very nice. Whoever tells you can't take guaranteed winning trades does not know how to manage risk correctly. So, we'll see what happens here, and we'll keep an eye out on price action. I'll put a little alert here in case we get back into that volume profile, and then I'll also put alert above this high because that will probably stop me out of my short. And, we could potentially see that squeeze to the upside. So, yeah, it's like looking at these lower time frames, 1-hour red dot looking to print potentially. 2-hour red dot looking to print potentially. And then when we start to look at some of these lower time frames, it's like you got money flow coming up on the 24-minute, the 8-hour green dot looking to print. So I'm just going to let this play out and see what happens. But yeah, that's my trading plan. That's what I'm looking for. So keep an eye on that lower level. Keep an eye on the resistances above and those key targets for the new all-time highs. And we'll keep you guys updated here as the price action develops. That's all I got. See you guys next time. I'm just kidding. Let's now get into the, I feel like I'm kind of trying to rush into the altcoins because obviously, guys, the star of the show today is going to be Ethereum. And if you guys have been tuned into the channel, if you're subscribed, if you've seen the market updates, even our long-term bull market price prediction for ETH, our video that we put out a few weeks ago, we talked about all of this, guys. And we have finally seen, right, and I'm not even going to start off here with this local volume profile. We'll bring this up in just a minute. Let me just put this into a folder. Actually, let me come on over here. And let me just go ahead and hide some of this stuff. And then I will kind of walk you guys through like what we're seeing happen here, right? Now, obviously, we all know, right? I think I have it here in one of these folders. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Macro resistance, right? So here we are. This is the level of resistance we've been talking about, guys. And, when we talk about doorways to higher prices, guys, we do not say it for no reason, right? And the reason that this was such a big doorway to higher prices is because that $4,000 level on Ethereum has been absolutely ridiculous resistance, slamming us down every single time we popped above it or popped into it. And this is also very confluent with our 786. Our macro 786 pulled from the high of 2021 all the way to the bear market lows of 2022. And, this is technically the doorway to new all-time highs. We are prepared and have been prepared for bigger pullbacks, but ETH wanted to pop. ETH wanted to break above this level, guys. So, we've seen this. I showed this on yesterday's live stream when we take a look at Bitcoin, right? That same kind of Fibonacci retracement that we looked at on Bitcoin indeed was the doorway to higher prices, right? It's the same 786 pulled from the high to the low of the bear market. You get above it. Sure, you play with it a little bit, scary dumps, but eventually you do get above that level, and it does end up being the doorway into new all-time highs. But frankly, we put in an all-time high here. I'm talking about big boy all-time highs, not just cracking above it by a few dollars. You can come down and retest these levels, potentially even slip them slightly, but multiple high time frame candle closures up here. And look at how much time this took, guys. Right? We were up here for 210 days. And it is funny when you look at it in hindsight, because it's like we were up here for 203 days. But when you go to a lower time frame, it's like, during that actual price action, right, everyone is super scared, right? Like, oh my God, we're going to zero. Is this the bear market? And I don't just say that to say it. People were really asking me this. I was getting DMs, tons of people in chat asking if it was the bear market. But again, that's why I say when in doubt, just zoom out, right? Like, what is really happening there from a higher time frame context? You're just trying to play around with that 786 and get above it, right? The chances of Bitcoin getting back down below that and going into a bear market was very low, in my opinion, right? Like, you crack the all-time high by what? 7% and then go into a bear market. Very unlikely, in my opinion. Obviously, we wound up being correct in that. But just to kind of show you the context of like how similar this is to Ethereum, it's the same exact Fibonacci pull. And that's 786, guys. Can we play around here? Sure. Can we lose it slightly, get back above it like we did? Could that take a long time? Maybe. But as we approach those September potential rate cuts, which again is about let me get an actual read here, 94.2%. Let me refresh that and see if it's changed. But if we have those rate cuts coming down the line, guys, like, it would be very nice and perfect timing for Ethereum to start playing around with not only major resistance, 93.4%, not only is it nice to see above that $4,000 resistance, but also the context of getting above that 786 is very important, right? Again, doesn't mean Lambo candle directly into 5,800, which, as you guys know, is the next bigger target here for Ethereum, in my opinion. It is this is the same Fibonacci target that I took a look at on the market update. It's the same fib, right? From the high to the low, major next target, $5,800. But we do also have some local targets that I covered in the video earlier today. But if you missed that, I will go ahead and kind of talk about those levels. So local extension levels, right? Well, we talked about this earlier today, and we are getting pretty close to it. Sitting between about, call it 47.18 up to about 48.62. 48.62 is literally the all-time high, right? Or 48.68 is the all-time high. So again, like, maybe we push up there and you start to get a little bit of resistance, because as of right now, the only thing above you right now is that extension level on the all-time high. So if you start pushing up here, maybe that's where you start to get a little bit of the resistance. Everyone's like, oh my God, double top, we're going to zero, right? But again, just understand this 786 is absolutely huge, and you can see these cool-offs, right? And then once we break above that, we're looking up towards about 52.35, and then up to that major bull market target at about $5,800. These are the next big three levels that I will be looking at if Ethereum continues to the upside. Is there a reason for Ethereum to continue to the upside? Well, as we've looked at time and time again here on the live streams, weekly money flow coming up indicates the longer-term trend will continue to the upside as long as this stays in the green. It's not just the weekly money flow. It's the 6-day money flow. It's the 5-day money flow. 4-day money flow, still just picking dandelions in the outfield here. I don't know what this 4-day is doing, but it is, for what it's worth, trying to round up to the upside here. We also do have that 4-day green dot printing. So again, money flow will always indicate the longer-term trend, right? Not the ebbs and flows, because if we look at the weekly here, you see that VWAP getting close to the zero line. If we get that weekly red dot, don't be surprised if you start to get a little pullback. But just understand, Ethereum has had a monster move here. So it would not be out of the ordinary to get some kind of a retracement at some point. And I think that weekly red dot would be the first big signal to look for some kind of a pullback. But just like any time we look at Market Cipher B, red dot would be an ebb or flow to the downside, but because money flow is coming up, you are anticipating higher lows and higher highs, whether you have to go back and retest the value area high down here at 3,400, or, maybe we have to crack down a little bit lower if we get bad news or something crazy happens. But looking really good here for Ethereum, in my opinion. And it's not just everything I mentioned here, guys. It's everything we've been keeping an eye on. The Bitcoin dominance. in a very simple sense, looks bearish to me, right? Why? Money flow coming into the red on the daily. 2-day money flow continuing to that zero line. We check this every day. It's getting closer and closer to that zero line. And over time, this would indicate the trend is going to continue down, right? Doesn't mean you can't get pops to the upside and corrections on altcoins, right? But eventually, if that money flow continues to the downside, you are expecting the trend to continue down for an eventual breakdown of this volume profile to finally see the alt season come in. Now, I can't give you a date or a time that this would happen. I would say, if the rate cuts are going to get priced into the market early, maybe you get to sell the news event on the actual rate cuts. That's where we see, big altcoin corrections. But again, long term, it might take some time for that liquidity to find itself into the risk on assets. But I mean, this is what we've seen in the past, guys, not only from like a timing standpoint, macroeconomic standpoint, but also from a chart standpoint. 2-day money flow crossover eventually led us here, right? And you could see, although the money flow is trending down here, we still got bounces, pretty significant bounces to the upside on dominance, right? So it's okay to, and then that will cause the turbulence, but eventually that money flow trend was indeed true to continue the trend to break down out of that range and see dominance absolutely nuke. So, not really much to update here. We're kind of just still in the same situation. Got to be careful here. We have a potential 2-day bull div forming. But again, I would just look at that as if we do get the bounce, right? I would be looking at that as noise for just a eventual chop to continue down to the breakdown of this range. Once we see that final breakdown, guys, you will know, right? You can see here, right? It was like very choppy, very choppy. You get the bounce, you get the bounce, you get the bounce. You even lose the value area low a little bit, right? You lose it, come back in, lose it, come back in, lose it, come back in. But eventually, once you lose it here, it's just like, whee! That's when you wake up and you're like, oh my God, we are banking on these altcoins. So that's what we're looking at. And then you have the, stock market making a new all-time high on the SPY. I don't know. That's like dominance coming down, looking bearish on money flow for the overall trend on the higher time frames. You got Ethereum with the weekly money flow or 2-day money flow, still cruising into the green here. All these higher time frame money flows crossing into the green. Like, this is what you want to see for a big move up, all right? Even if you have to get the correction. So very, very nice for Ethereum. Shout out. What's weird? There's no like ETH community, which I get. I mean, a lot of people hate on ETH because it's expensive and all that. But shout out to the Ethereans, I guess we can call them. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Dizzy Gang, says 59% Diddy dominance. Good Lord. But let's see here. Let me jump into chat real quick. Shout out to Wade, said, I love these comments. I thought I had YouTube on 2x speed, but it's just the host speaking. Shout out to Wade. Yeah, we're I don't know what it is, guys. I am just permanently in 2x. It might have to do with the fact that I watch every YouTube video I ever watch, like entertainment videos, informational. If it doesn't matter, I'm watching in at least 2x speed. And maybe that's why I talk so fast. Just years of watching YouTube in 2x is just like transferring into my actual speaking voice. Or maybe it's just because I'm from New York. But let's see. We are ETH Maxis. Shout out to Gen Z. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got Carlos dropping those bullhorns in the chat. Let's get it. Shout out to Keith, says, what you just looked up, didn't that have a 2-day bull div, but sold off into alt season? Shout out to Keith. I'm not 100% sure what you are referring to. I don't know if maybe you're talking about this 2-day bull div on dominance. This would indicate, right, if I were just looking at the candlestick chart here, if we wind up printing this green dot, that indication would be a bounce, right? It would indicate a move to the upside. But eventually, right, the overall trend would, I would be still looking for a continuation down based off money flow, right? And if you're new here, if you don't know what market cipher is, just to kind of give you an idea so it can catch you up to what we look for here, these green and red dots are typically indicating the ebbs and flows in the market, right? So you have a green dot, a red dot, a green dot, a red dot, but the money flow overall is going to indicate the longer term trend. So that's why I say, even if you bounce, right? And this is what has kept us on the right side of the trades here, guys, even on Bitcoin, right? Like even the scalp trades, the money flow is always what keeps us on the right side of the trade, because it's like, even if you can expect that bounce, you at least understand the context of like, okay, we're bouncing, but it's like you're not just expecting a massive rip up to new highs, right? You're going to be looking for lackluster retracements to the upside for lower highs and continuations down to follow that money flow, right? So you could expect turbulence, but as long as that keeps flush into the downside, we can expect the eventual breakdown of this range, which would obviously be very good for alts, right? So there you go. Very, very nice to see. And then you start factoring all the macroeconomics and stuff. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. We might be able to see this stuff start moving. Shout out to Jordy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, I reject that. DeFi for life. Let's go. Shout out to Jordy. Let's get it, baby. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Yeah, shout out to Faster Things. I should check out my ETH, I guess. Yeah, shout out to Faster Things. It's like, during this, guys, I'm not going to lie, during this massive dump to the downside, I hold a lot of Ethereum. Sometimes it's, if you have the long-term conviction, which obviously we did, sometimes just best to kind of stay out of that portfolio. And hey, look, now we're back up. Absolutely beautiful. Now, before we move on to the other altcoins, guys, I do just want to bring up one more local range that I am looking at. This is a local range. Believe it or not, this has been on the chart for quite some time. I mean, shout out to the volume profiles, guys. Like, this isn't even what I was going to talk about, but like, these volume profiles, like these will change your life. If you want to learn how to trade volume profiles, check out the beginner series on the channel. I have tons of free content here teaching you how to use these. But laws of the volume profile state, if you get above that value area low, there is a very high probability that the next target is the POC. And then once you're able to break above that, that next target's going to be the value area high. And you can just see how perfect these levels are respected, right? Even when you tap into this value area high, where's the next likely place for price to go? Well, probably going to be that POC. And you can just see the respect here on that point of control. Very nicely, it was a higher low for a continuation up. So super nice, but that's not the range I was talking about. The range I'm talking about is actually all the way up here. Where's it at? Right here, right? And this was a range that we had looked at in the past. If you guys have been here forever, I mean, this was a while ago, back in 2024. But this is pretty much the bull market kind of top range. And you can see every time we came up, rejected. Up, reject the value area low. Up, reject the POC. But now, what has happened here? This would be your local, not that we were looking at this, yesterday or anything, but once you break above that value area low, doorway to higher prices, and that doorway, that higher price would be the value area high sitting at 35.40. And you could even see here on a lower time frame, look at the respect here, guys. Break above, flip it to support, into the POC, flip the POC, you start your journey into that value area high. Absolutely beautiful. And the reason I bring this up is because if we do have to see a correction and we're not going to hit that target here first, if you get below that value area high, just understand key support levels down below locally would be the point of control at about $4,077, which is very, very, very confluent pretty much with the 786, which is another very, very key level. So I would say, like, if we had to get the local kind of smaller correction, we could watch that POC at 4,084. You have the 786 sitting here at 4,013, and then the value area low is sitting here at about 39.27. So, maybe we bing bong around this range. And then, these are just the local levels I will be looking at. If we have to break back down below this, I will simply just bring up our profile down below. If we lose this in a big way and start dropping back down to this value area high, we could talk about this. It's going to be key support, but if we break down below that, it could indicate the bigger drop. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're pretty far away from that at this point. If we had to come down and test that, it'd be a 22% drop. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, these are the local levels I'd be looking at on Ethereum. Value area high, 45.34. POC, 4,084. Value area low, sitting at 39.34. And the 786 is also very important to realize is sitting at $4,018. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Jordy. I appreciate the super chat. Said Frankie called the macro reversal around 1350. Shout out to Jordy. He's been here for quite a while. And yeah, obviously, when we were coming down here to the, into the 1300s, honestly, we talk about the masses, right? Typically the crowd is wrong. When you get a massive drop on the second largest crypto off market cap, right? And it's dumping down to these like pretty much bear market lows, right? Like you're not all the way at the bear market lows, but obviously, this is super oversold for Ethereum. And I don't know how much lower. I even said, like, the word for word was like, I don't know how much lower people want this to go. If I were looking to buy ETH, I've already bought my ETH way lower, but if I were looking to accumulate ETH, I don't know how much lower people want that to go. Even if you were dollar cost averaging and had to get another drop down to, I think we had another level at about $1,100. Like, you're never going to bottom tick that low perfectly on your spot bag. So you just dollar cost average on the way down. But, not really a, I don't know how much lower people wanted this to go. And when we take a look at our macro bull market profile, right, just to give you guys a little bit of sauce on how we're able to predict this stuff, what's happening here? It's just a simple volume profile. Deviate above the high, back in. Deviate above the high, can't get back out. Reject the value area high. Next spot to go, very likely the POC and value area low. Once you hit that value area low, if it looks bullish, you can look for the bounces back above the POC for the full rotation back up to your range high. Deviate above, can't get back out. Well, you know the rest, right? And what was this looked at as, right? It was looked at as a deviation below the volume profile. This is where we want to do what? Look for long positions, not panic sell your bags. This is looked at as undervalued. These volume profiles show you the fair value for the asset. When it gets above the level, people think it's expensive. When it gets below the level, it is expected to be cheap, right? So when we look at that, it's like, well, hey guys, we're deviating below the volume profile. We see those bullish confirmations. We even had local levels of support that we were tapping down here. And what happens, right? We know once we get back up into that value area low, once you flip that to support, right? Especially if you have money flow agreeing with you, which it absolutely was, even on the daily time frame, as we started to cook to the upside here, that daily money flow was crossing into the green, indicating the long-term trend would continue to the upside, quickly followed up by the 2-day money flow crossover. At that point, any pullback is looked at as a macro or a lackluster retracement to the downside for a higher low and a higher high to eventually fill that full range. And here we are, now attempting to break out of this range, guys. Very, very, very nice to see. And we covered this on the live stream so many times. But yeah, I mean, that's just how we, it's very important to understand the context of the market, even down here during the bear market, right? This range is pulled all the way from 2021. You drop down out of this range, you're now in cheap territory, right? Now, this is obviously the bear market. There's other reasons to be anticipating lower prices, because if you're expecting the bear market, you're expecting a break of this range and a big dump. But, once you're down there, it's like, hey, this is probably undervalued relative to the recent price action. Excuse me. And, this is where you would want to be dollar cost averaging, in my opinion, right? Buy down here. Buy a little bit on the way up, buy a little bit on the way down, right? And then you get that nice average entry point to eventually enjoy the bull market, which would have been really nice to see it just break out with Bitcoin. But obviously that was not the case. I explained why I think that was the case here. But eventually, hopefully we can get into those new all-time highs. Man, this was just like another chance to enter into ETH if you missed the boat, right? And then even when we're down here, right? Everybody's saying Ethereum's dead. Everyone's saying Ethereum's not going to hit a new all-time high. And I was up here. I could have been wrong, guys. I could have been wrong, right? I've been wrong before, but down here, I'm just like, I don't know how much lower people want this to go, and I just think it's really unlikely that we're going to go through a full bull market without Ethereum making a new all-time high. So yeah, now we're just kind of seeing that. Took a long time for that to play out, right? Now we're sitting here 126 days later, 128 days later, finally got that to play out. Very, very, very nice to see. But also, let me just see this real quick, because this would be very, very, and there is your big key level, right? This is a pretty big level on Ethereum, right? Because when you pull from the low to the high here, or actually it would technically be this high. I don't know which one's higher here, but it's pretty much the same level, right? If you're looking for a higher low and then another higher high, where do you want that higher low to come in at? Either at the golden pocket or the 786. I usually look at that as a big zone. And when you deviate there and you see a cheap asset deviating below a volume profile and you're tapping into the biggest macro level of support, at the end of the day, guys, if you decisively drop down out of this, that's really bad, right? That's either the asset's dead, which I would never think on Ethereum, right? Institutional interest on Ethereum. It's not just the expensiveness of Ethereum that's going to transfer one-to-one to the price action, right? You have institutional interest, all this other stuff. Many reasons to see Ethereum go back up. And then this would have been a very big line in the sand, right? It's like, hey guys, you lose that level and you can't get back above it. Yikes, you could potentially be going to make a new low, and that would have been below here at about $870. Very unlikely in my opinion, but just some thoughts on why we were looking for those moves to the upside. You even had the 2-day bullish divergences, lower lows, higher lows, very similar to what we saw on Bitcoin back there in April. Dumping on down to not the same exact level, but it was also a 786 Fibonacci retracement. Where is it? Yeah, pulled from here, from the impulse to the high, right? And what are we looking for? 786 is your big line in the sand. Bullish divergences, lower lows, higher lows, send it into a new all-time high. So there you go. And I take a risk there, guys. I could have been wrong here. And if I saw something on the chart that changed, that looked more bearish, I would have flipped. But we didn't see it pop up on the charts. So, luckily the charts are right more than they're wrong. So, I'm just naturally going to be right more than I'm wrong, because I just base all my decisions off the charts, right? I don't care if people think alt season is going to happen. If it's not on the charts, if it's not a macroeconomic environment where we could see alt season, I'm not going to call for it, right? So there you go. Let's see. We're going to take a look at some other altcoins as well. Shout out to Incredible, says 9K CME gap unfilled. We're going to 9K, guys. Every CME gap must get filled. No, I'm just kidding. I think he's joking. But yeah, it's a lot of people think, right, that every CME gap has to get filled. Although most of them do get filled. That is definitely true. it doesn't guarantee every single one has to get filled, right? So the way I look at CME gaps is like, if we come down to it and interact with it, we're looking at it as a key level, right? And you could, be suspicious of it going to fill, but there's nothing that says it has to guaranteed fill. So just understand that. A lot of people do think it's like guaranteed that it has to fill. It's truly not the case. Obviously, majority of them do get filled, but that's different than 100% certainty. So let's see. ETH to new all-time high, then retrace. That could be another thing that we see play out here. 9K would make me cry. 9K would be crazy. I mean, you're looking at, I'm obviously not looking at that, but yeah, I don't know. It's like you're talking about, I think Incredible was joking, but, that would just be takes so long to get down there. Like, if we saw some kind of mega nuke down to, 9K here, it's like, that is, I don't know. That would that would be insane. But hey, nothing's impossible, right? Let's see. Shout out to Connor. Connor with a K says, I just recently got Market Cipher. Could you show the settings that you use for yours? Yeah, of course. I don't change any of my real like inputs or anything like that. Only thing I have changed here is like cosmetic. So if you want, like, you can copy. I mean, this is all I do is take off the RSI and the stock RSI, and then I take off the plot backgrounds. But other than that, it's pretty much default. The reason I don't have the RSIs on here is just because I don't pay super attention to them. It's not to say that they're not worth paying attention to. I just like to have a nice, clean indicator. I just like to keep it as simple and clean as possible. And this I don't know. I just don't like it. So I take it off. But again, doesn't mean you shouldn't look at them. I just personally don't. But there you go. So boom. And then I actually do have a Market Cipher video on the channel where I show you the exact colors that I use if you want to match those. Let's see. Shout out to Jay Smith. Said, Frank, I'm trying to find Ondo's bull market targets like you have with BTC. Which fib numbers should I be looking at? Jay, I have some experimental levels. I would recommend if you're looking at extensions, right? Let me just see here. Right. The default settings will give you like the most common extension levels. I would just pay attention to these. They're very similar to the ones that I look at. I just don't want to give people like a ton of like experimental levels that may or may not hold up. But typically the ones that people look at are going to be something like this, right? So if I pull from this high and then we bring it on down to this low, let me just extend it to the right, right? You can see here, there's that 786 flip, boom. And then you do have a level up here. You have the 1618 sitting at about $132,000, which we have that similar fib level at about 130K, but I would recommend just using the default. You'll just get those, you can experiment as well. Many people look at many different levels. I would say these most common ones probably have the most, the highest probability of getting respected. So there you go. Those will just automatically pop up on your chart. So there you go. And they're very close to the ones that I use. I just get a little bit more nuanced with the levels that I look at. All right, let's see. ADA chart. Yeah, we'll take a look at ADA. No problemo. If you want to see your favorite altcoins, just drop them in the chat right now. Is Rob here today? If Rob is not here, Darren, if you are still here, if you could make the alt list, I would greatly appreciate you. If not, Tony. If not, Jesse? Birthday boy, let's go. But yeah, real quick, guys, we took a look at Ethereum. We'll jump into Solana real quick as well, and here we are. We looked at this. We look at this every day. Bounce off that golden pocket, right? Not impossible, right? Or wasn't impossible to potentially, if we were going to get accepted back into this value area, to come down to that biggest level sitting down here at $143. But right now, guys, this is looking good for a higher low, which would indicate a potential higher high coming. And the higher high I would look to crack or the higher high I would like to make would be pushing into that point of control. We are now very, very nicely back above our value area low of the upper range, sitting at about $183, $184. Hit your head, correction. Once you get back in here, guys, the target is open at $217 at that point of control, almost to the dot. Also confluent with your macro golden pocket between 219 and 225. So if you want that big zone on your chart, just so you can understand where you should be looking, 216.87 all the way up to 225.94 will be the next major target for Ethereum. And again, this is not just based off the volume profiles alone, but also based off of the fact that we did come down and retest that golden pocket. A lot of people get scared on these dumps, but we had the Mafia prepared, not only to look for corrections. Solana not approaching really a major key level of resistance, at least as what I was looking for, but we did a lot of major key levels of resistance on a lot of the altcoins, things like Cardano, tapping into its value area low, major level of resistance, and Solana did end up getting that correction, but Again, back to money flow, guys, indicating the longer-term trend to the upside, right? If I just pull up a clean Solana chart here, just to make it really simple for anybody who's new, what do we have, right? Also, measured move from the head and shoulders here played out perfectly. So finish that technical target before the pullback, and you can look at that as potentially the reason why you're rejected. You also came up to some horizontal levels here as well. But, when you just look at this from a high time frame perspective, let's take a look at the 2-day, right? 2-day money flow crossover into the green. Once that crossover happens, guys, any pullbacks are looked at as lackluster for continuations to the upside to continue the overall uptrend. Sure, you got the red dot on your 2-day. That could indicate a correction. But again, money flows in the green. So you're looking for the higher lows and the higher highs. And this came in at a perfect level, which was the golden pocket. Pulled from the impulse to the high. You pull back, bounce off the golden pocket. This is a beautiful place to put in the higher low. It's also confluent with your anchored VWAP. And a daily MPOC. We front ran the daily MPOC, but you tapped right into that zone, given on the live stream for free. And it does look, right? The doorway is open to potentially have your low, your high, your higher low, and your higher high cracking structure to the upside coming into your next major target. That is Solana. And again, if something changes, if we get another pullback, we'll reassess the situation. But right now, it does look pretty good. Beautiful tap on that anchored VWAP from the low here on the golden pocket. I mean, we could look for that potential higher high. And the fact that you're above that value area low, as long as we don't break down below this, doorway to the POC is open, and it just makes perfect sense in my opinion. Doesn't make it guaranteed, but, hey, probability is usually on your side in that case. So there you go. There's Solana. We also have the 5-day green dot printing, 6-day green dot printing. It's really this weekly. This VWAP got support on the 0 line, but, I think the next bigger pullback that we see will probably come in on that weekly red dot, but we're popping back to the upside here, so we'll keep an eye on this. Money flow is trending back to the upside as well, which is very nice for the long-term continuation. Come on, baby. Rate cuts. I'll say it again. There are a lot of things lining up here. Shout out to Jay Smith. Thank you for the super chat. Said the reason I ask is because there are a lot more levels above than there are on BTC. Shout out to Jay Smith. Did I? A lot more levels above. Shout out to Jay Smith. Are you talking about Market Cipher B? You don't have to super chat again, bro. I appreciate the super chat. Just try to drop it in the free chat, and I'll try to keep an eye on it. Thank you, Rob, for the alt list. I appreciate you, bro. Show Rob some love in the chat. Hey, Rob, we all know Rob has a birthday every single day. Did you wish Jesse a happy birthday, Rob? Let me know, bro. But thank you for that alt list. I will go ahead and pop that to the top of the chat so I don't lose it. And, and Rob, if you see, or Darren, if you see Jay Smith drop a free chat in there explaining his question, if you could just kind of like highlight it, give me some stop sign emoji so I can see it. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. FOMO Sapiens are aping in soon. Shout out to Nirvana. Yeah. Get ready, guys. If we see this stuff continue up, the retail might finally come back. So you're going to start seeing meme coins, crazy $1 million targets for Bitcoin in the next day. So just get ready for that emotional roller coaster that retail puts us on. Let's see. Okay, Diggity in the chat. What is going on, bro? And we got Link, VeChain, and Crow on the alt list. Let's take a look at, I'm going to cover Cardano first just because everybody's asking for it. So let's go ahead and take a look here and get rid of the lines. So yeah, so the one thing, right, for Cardano, right, we are getting that little push to the upside. The one thing here, guys, is very similar to Bitcoin. Almost the same exact profile here, right? We break back into the range. We get the push back to the POC. This is like that $118,000 level on Bitcoin, kind of, right? And then you push in, we're testing this value area high, which is also confluent with our Fibonacci retracements from the high to the low. Could you put in a lower high here? I mean, Fibonacci retracements would say it's an area to look for it. And I'll just give you the if this, then that, right? If you do end up getting the rejection back into this range, just understand two things here. You get back into the range, you reject the value area high. Next stop is going to be the POC. And sometimes you can go up and retest the high again before finally getting the full fill of the range. And the reason I am even mentioning this on Cardano is because we actually did front run the golden pocket. We bounced off the local golden pocket, pulled from the higher low, right? We did tap that. But the full retracement still sits down here. Golden pocket starts at 67 cents. 786 pulls down to about 60 cents. So I'm not saying this has to be the base case, but if you cannot get back above this 786 sitting at 88 cents and you come back into this range and you start dumping again, just understand that that big Fibonacci level is sitting here one more time between 67 and 60 cents. This would still be a good place to bounce in my opinion. Hopefully we could just rip on out of here. If you push above that 786, you still got to get above that doorway to higher prices at 89.90 cents at the value area low. This is your big doorway to higher prices, similar to Solana. Once you get above there, right, you are going to be looking for that next major target to be the point of control at $1.21. But you do still have some work to get up in there, right? And I would say that 786 is it's hard, right? Because you have the 786 and the value area low. I would say really the doorway to higher prices right now. Get above the 786. You're going to run right into the value area low. You got to get above that in order to see the break of structure to the upside. And just like on Solana, if we at least pull this to the pull the fib from the higher low, or even pull it from the impulse, right? You hit the impulse golden pocket as well. Still a good potential area to put in an aggressive higher low before seeing that higher high come in. And that's why I had this level that we marked out yesterday that said, will it break? Is this local fib retracement enough to give us that break of structure to the upside, which could be expected? But because we have that full retracement down here, you do still have to be aware that, like, if you do get knocked back down, you do still have some sound support down here to look for another bounce. So that's what I'm looking at on Cardano. And just like everything else, I mean, guys, I say this all the time. Usually it's in the way that people don't want to hear, right? Usually I'm like, guys, I don't know. Everybody wants big moves up, or, if you're bullish, like, just understand that if you want a big move up, you want money flow coming up. And typically that is not the case, right? But right now, I will say this looks very similar to Ethereum, obviously getting the 2-day money flow crossover. This is what made us bullish on Cardano all the way down here, looking for that continuation of the trend, even if you have to go for that bigger push down to the value area low. This would indicate the trend is going to continue up, right? 3-day money flow coming to the upside, right? And the nice thing here is, like, we're not even crossed over into the green yet. And, yeah, I mean, this looks good. Like, money flow coming up on the 3-day. 4-day is, again, just picking dandelions in the outfield. I don't know why this is going against every other time frame. Usually 2-day money flow crosses over. 3-day follows suit. That lines up perfectly. And then the 4-day will be following suit as well. Except the 4-day is just kind of doing its own thing. I don't know what's going on there. 5-day money flow crossing into the green. 6-day money flow in the green. And your weekly money flow finally ticking into the green as well. Just got to watch that weekly red dot if we're going to get that bigger retracement. But, these money flow crossovers, as long as we can sustain these guys, would indicate big moves up. Last weekly money flow crossover happened right. We had the weekly money flow crossover bullish. Then people say, what happened? I thought the money flow was crossing into the green. It is, right? But it doesn't indicate the little ebbs and flows. It only indicates the trend. And what happens shortly after that? Higher low, massive rip to the upside. So just to kind of show you the power of these weekly money flow crossovers, if you can get them to push into the green deep like that, it's all headed in the right direction, guys. It's all kind of sweeping into the right direction, which I absolutely love. So there you go. Key resistance above on Cardano, definitely going to be right here, 90 cents. Flip that to support. Just like Solana, we can look up towards that POC at $1.21. You can see that was exactly where we rejected back here last time we came into the profile. And so if we do get up there, flip the POC, you could eventually look up towards that value area high at about $1.81. But we will talk so many times before that happens. So I'll keep you guys updated. Maybe tomorrow we're looking at the rejection here, and I'll have to bring up the support and be like, don't worry, guys, don't worry. If we lose the 786, well, then maybe worry a little bit, right? But again, I'll walk you guys through that every step of the way. Let's see. As long as we don't break 75 cents, we're good on Cardano. Yeah, I mean, I would say you could even come deeper. Because, again, full 786, right? Push down here, still have your higher low. So even if you pulled down a little bit lower, I think you'd still be good, at least based off the chart here. But, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if you could hold that 75 cents. Sure. Maybe locally, right? It's more of like a pretty close to that level, to be honest. 75 cents would not freak me out. Maybe for the local trend, yes, but not for the longer-term trend. So, yeah. That's what we're looking at on Cardano, or Cardanzo, as our boy James Kramer would say. Yeah, shout out to Keith. Said, too early for alt season. One more dump, then we go to all-time high later this year. Yeah, shout out to Keith. Just to give you guys like a little bit of a timeline, it's very hard to call like timing on this stuff, guys. Again, because if we get to September and they don't cut rates, right, this is going to either delay things or, step on them severely. So in that case, right, it would take a lot longer, but or potentially get canceled. I know people love to talk about canceled alt season. Is it impossible? No. But again, be careful of the, we still have some time here to play around till the September meeting where we will have expected rate cuts, at least right now, 93.4%. And then even if they announce those rate cuts, guys, you could still see it could take a little bit of time for those to take effect, right? So, again, but long term, right? Like just like cycle wise, I would be looking at if we pull up the, let me pull up this real quick. I'll pull up that time fib that we've looked at in the past. I believe it's pulled from the 2017 low. Or, I'm sorry, 2018 low to the high, all the way to the bear market low of 2022. October 20th, right? This is not going to be like there's no magic tool. I wish this tool was magical and it could just be like, that's the day the top comes in, you have to sell. But it is this 1-to-1 fib, time fib, is where the top had come in 2021, pulled in the same exact manner. And just to kind of show you guys that, I will pull that as well from the low to the bull market high to the bear market low. 1-to-1 fib, like literally almost nailed that to the day. Like almost, right? We're on the weekly chart, so it's like the top came in, and then a week later we started dumping into the bear market. So, it doesn't have to play out like that, but it is interesting that 1-to-1 fib is also coming in October, November. It's like in a very, very similar spot as well. So this is definitely a date that I'm paying attention to. So again, I'm not saying that all this stuff has to come up right this second. We could still kind of chop around, even if you get a pullback here. You still have a lot of, I don't know. Even if you get a little bit, I would almost expect some kind of like a scare, one last shakeout maybe. People call for one last shakeout, forever. But just to be aware, right? Like you still have some time that you could potentially chop around before finally seeing that parabola build. And then again, alt season, would probably be happening near that time as well, and maybe even extend a little bit past that. So just to give that timing perspective, right? This all does not have to come in, right? It's not saying that the alts have to rip right this second, but everything is, weekly money flow, even on like Ethereum, is just starting to cross into the green. This takes a long time to play out, right? Last weekly money flow crossover took, this is just, we're just comparing history, right? Like this doesn't mean it has to play out like this, but if you just kind of back test this, right? Like weekly money flow crossover to the top, that took, let's just measure that out real quick. 147 days, right? So like, this chop can like, it can be very exciting. Then you kind of range around for a while, right? We range around here for like 50 days, right? So you could have like a lot of chop and stuff, but long term still does look like it's lining up. So like these high time frames, I kind of talk about them as like they're cruise ships. They don't really turn on a dime. They take a long time to move. So it still could be a decent amount of time. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. August will be green, in my opinion. At Tony D, can you check that? I feel like Augusts are usually green. And take that with a grain of salt, guys, because I'm kind of just basing that off of being in crypto for such a long time and feeling like August is usually a green month. I could be totally wrong on that. But, Tony, if you could check that. Is August usually a green month? I'm going to bet it is. I'm gonna 100x long that it is. Let's see. Jesse. Oh, Jesse's birthday to kick off alt season. Let's go. And, again, pulling up, we'll even like Cardano, right? We'll pull it up on the non-log charts here, guys. Like, again, I know sometimes you can see these little pops up. I don't know what it is. I did this too when I first got into like looking at charts, right? Like you always just wind up staying on these like super low time frames. You're like, oh my God, I'm missing out. From a long-term perspective, guys, especially on the log chart, it kind of puts it more into perspective. Like we're still chilling pretty low here, right? If Cardano is going to be like revisiting its all-time high, you still got 270%. You're still pretty far off the all-time highs here for a lot of altcoins, right? Some of the newer ones, not so much, but you do, it's this weekly money flow crossover just started, right? So yeah, I do still think there is going to be a little bit of time here, but long-term, it does look like everything is kind of lining up in the right way. And chances are, guys, there's going to be some curveballs thrown. Oh my God, does this mess up the plan? Like we'll have to reassess things at certain points. But again, just my general bias here. I've stood so true in my bull market analysis here. Moving forward, avoiding the bad alt season call in February as the charts were not calling for it. The only reason I'm talking about alt season now is because we're finally seeing a lot of the stuff we needed in the past, especially on Bitcoin dominance, right? Like in the past when we were looking at the potential for alt seasons happening, they would look at dominance, right? And it's like, I don't know what exactly it was. A lot of people were expecting it in February, but like on the charts, right? Money flows in the green. We're flipping on top of the value area low. Very unlikely to see alt season, right? It's a different macroeconomic environment. Bitcoin dominance looks bullish. So we avoid that, right? But now we're finally seeing this stuff pop up on the chart. Doesn't have to be instant, but it is starting to line up in the right way, right? Money flow coming out, etc. Right? Even your 3-day money flow is tanking out. So not too shabby. And you also had the weekly bearish divergence up here towards that 786, which was like kind of our last line of defense, right? If you broke above that, yikes, that would have been like really bad for alt season because your next highest probability target was 68%, 69% almost, which would have been really bad for alts, obviously. So very nice that we didn't even have to tap that level, let alone break above it. So, it's all just on the charts, guys. It's not even really it's my opinion on the charts, I guess, but it's not even really my opinion, right? Like that weekly bear div is there. That 786 is factually there. So that's all I base my information off of. And that's why a lot of people will be like, anytime I'm bearish, people are like, why are you bearish, dude? Don't you want it to pump? I'm like, of course. But the market's not going to do what I want it to do. It's going to do what the charts are telling me for the most part. Let's see. Shout out to Eugene Sky said, having year August is always green. BTC average return 35%. Okay, well, there we go. 100x long played out there. All right, let's see. Let's just check in on Bitcoin real quick. Doing anything crazy here? Yeah, just still kind of bing-bonging around. I really hope, guys. I'm not going to lie. I would really prefer to just see this thing. Again, not saying it's the highest probability, but my personal preference here. And maybe this won't play out, and I can come here and say, hey, guys, remember yesterday I said my personal preference was up, and we came down? That's why the market does not care about your personal preference, but I would really prefer if we just rip up here. I'd rather stop out of my short position, have the longs continue to pay out. Long sitting at about 750 in profit from yesterday, so not bad. We'll see what happens. Shout out to Nirvana said, this is the perfect time to be frank. Or to be fair. I'm going to say to be frank. Shout out to Nirvana. FL Project in the chat says, hi. What is going on, FL Project? Welcome in, bro. 100x long? Okay. Shout out to K Diggity. No. K Diggity, hey. Phoebe says hi. Let's see here. Jet said some alts may run soon. Memes may run soon, but Jupiter and 1 inch will definitely give you easy 2 to 3x in the next 2 months. Yeah, and you'll always have the early movers. I'll jump right into Link here. Obviously, let's pull up a higher time frame, right? Link's starting to move here, right? We even had XRP, which is starting to move as well, or had been starting to move in the past. I'm not saying it had like a massive move. I mean, had a pretty decent move, but we have all these alts starting to move a little bit early. These are typically the usual suspects for early movers. Even BNB, guys. Whoops. Right, BNB, we took a look at this when it was happening, right? Like BNB, we had that long-term ascending triangle. You do get the breakout, right? Not that I would trade the triangle, but this is typically a bullish breakout pattern. And, BNB putting in new all-time high, this is typically an early mover as well. So, it is all just lining up perfectly, guys. That's the last time I'll say that, but it definitely is all lining up pretty nice. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on. We'll take a look at Chainlink because that is on the list. Bada boom. And let's take a look here. So this is old. I can take this off the chart. Here's your local, or what was your local doorway to higher prices. You had your fib from the high to the low. Once you flip that 786, you look for a break of structure to the upside, meaning a break of this high right here. We did get that, and it pushed us into that next key level of resistance, so we've already smashed through that. Absolutely beautiful. And what was the level you flipped to support here? Right on that POC. Very, very nice to see. And we are pushing into that golden pocket 786 zone, which is confluent with the value area high. This does sit between 2276 and 2662. So if we do continue up here, just understand this is a zone of resistance. And I would say, being that this is your golden pocket pulled from the high to the low, breaking above that 786 would call for a BOS, right, or a break of structure to the upside of this high. Will it break? Well, could potentially be if we break above that 786, right? So that's your doorway to break this high, is that 786 sitting at 2660. Again, do I love that this value area low was front run? Again, we didn't get the full fill of the profile. You deviate above, get stuck into the range. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. Once you lose the POC, you are looking towards that value area low. We did front run it. Something I don't love, right? At this point, it does look pretty decent, but if we did get another big nuke to the downside, just remember your value area lows at 938. Not my base case here. It's not always guaranteed that you have to visit that value area low, although it does happen more often than not. But this is like your major macro range. Doorway to higher prices or doorway to break 3081 is going to be this 786 at 2632. And again, higher time frames like this. I'm not going to go over markets IVB on every coin because they pretty much, if they look the same, I'm just going to shut up about it. This looks the same as Ethereum, right? 3-day money flow, 4-day just kind of doing its own thing, 5-day in the green, 6-day in the green, weekly in the green. So there we go. So yeah, and then I would love to. Let me just hide this real quick. Did I pull that? I think I pulled this range. Yeah. So you can see here, looking at this kind of more local range from 2021. That 786 is confluent with your POC. I don't want to confuse a ton of people, but you can just see the confluence there. Not only would you be breaking above that 786, you would also be breaking above the point of control of this local range, which would make the next target this high, right? Which is the one that we're looking to break. So nice to see here. Flip the low, wiggle up to that POC. Next local target would really be like $26 to $27. Flip that, look to crack that structure to the upside. Not too shabby on Link. Does anybody want a Link price prediction video? Maybe we should do that next. Bull market price prediction, long term. But yeah, and like we've even been looking at this through every pullback, guys. Oh, I still have the default fib on here. Pulled from the high to the low. Let me pull up my actual, right? Where'd we hold the high or low? Right on the golden pocket 786 where you would want it to hold. And then here from the low to the high, what did you hold? Barely, but you did hold your golden pocket 786, which is where you're looking for the higher lows. That would be nice. That would be very nice. So there you go. That's what we're looking at on Link. XMR, yeah, I will actually write that down real quick. We could take a look at XMR. Okay, if this pen would work. Okay, I'm getting trolled here. Try to take a look at XMR for you, no problemo. Shout out to Brillo. Thank you for the super chat with no text on it. Hopefully you didn't do that by mistake. Maybe that's just a tip. Shout out to Brillo if you did if you did mean to put a text there. Try to put it in the free chat. I'll try to see it. You do not have to super chat again, brother. But let's see. CG Beats in the chat. Flexing that check mark. Let's go. Shout out to CG Beats. Welcome in, bro. Wishing Jesse a happy birthday. Let's get it. Shout out to J. Cole. Said, Frankie, should I sell my home equity to jump into ETH with 10x leverage? Shout out to J. Cole. I would never recommend that. Please do not, please do not do that to leverage trade. Shout out to who said that? J. Cole. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but it's not something I would be interested in. I'll just say that. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. We never did cookie. People have been asking for that too. Maybe I'll add that as a bonus. Shout out to Monveer. I'm sure I said that wrong, but hopefully not too wrong. Near, yeah, we could try to take a look at Near. $80 to $100 Link without Swift. With only 1% of Swift transactions, could send it to $200 to $300 per token. Good Lord. Yeah, maybe I'll do a pre-recorded video on that potentially. Okay, so let's continue on. Yo, shout out to Nirvana, said J. Cole 100%. Oh, God. Yes, Link price prediction video. At Tony D, if you could mark that down for me, brother. Maybe I'll try to shoot that. It's always hard with that stuff, right? Because like even the Ethereum price prediction video or XRP price prediction video, it's like I have to be very clear about like the timing of those, not only the timing of release, but like the timing of, managing expectations of like, I think sometimes people will see like bull market targets and they're thinking like it's going to buy it right now. It's going up right now. I'm usually pretty explicit in those videos. But like even the ETH price prediction video, I don't remember exactly where we filmed it, but it's like, if I filmed it here, that price prediction video would have been exactly the same as if I made it right now, right? It's just like, my overall anticipation, this dump would not step on the price prediction or anything like that. So, yeah, I'll try to get those going, and maybe we'll start taking requests from the chat, and we'll just make pre-recorded videos, and we'll just start dumping them on the Mafia. VeChain, yeah, I'm just taking some honorable mentions here. But we took a look at Cardano, took a look at Link. VeChain's on the list. Let's take a look at Crow real quick. Just make sure I'm on the alt list here. Okay, beautiful. Let's take a look here. We haven't looked at Crow in a minute, so I'm just gonna have to get my bearings here for a minute. All right, so we had the, yeah. So I'm gonna give you guys some sauce here, right? So this Fibonacci retracement pulled from the lower high to the low. This gave us this golden pocket N786. These are key resistances, especially on this golden pocket. You had a weekly and a monthly MPOC, a weekly MPOC, and the golden pocket. And, when you're looking for those rejections, you're going to be looking between the golden pocket and the 786. You also have the value area high up here, right? So this is really just one big zone. You could see, normally when we look at these Fibonacci retracements, to the upside, it's usually like, hey, guys, be careful of a lower high and a lower low. But that was not the case here, and it's for a very specific reason. I like to teach you guys exactly what those reasons are so you can truly understand the analysis, not just, like, tune in to get, like, a random thought and just go with it, not understanding what you're looking at, because it can really mess you up. The reason we did not look for that lower high here and we just looked for a small pullback is, you guessed it, money flow. You have your 12-hour money flow cooked in the green here, daily money flow in the green, and your 2-day money flow cracked into the green here. Really, the 2-day money flow is the big thing that we looked at on all of the altcoins, even back here on the fake out, right? These 2-day money flow crossovers are typically very, very, very good for altcoins. And you can see, 2-day money flow crosses green, you get a big correction, but again, higher low, higher high, right? You're looking for that overall trend continuation with that money flow, which means once you get up here, hey, money flow's in the green on the higher time frames. You're looking for lackluster pullbacks for the continuation of the trend. If we came up here and money flow was tanking into the red, you might be looking for the lower high and the lower low. And that is typically what we look at if money flow is confluent. And we just haven't really seen it in this manner in a very long time. So you might be thinking to yourself, Frankie, why are you not looking for the lower high at the Fibonacci levels? It's based off the money flow, right? That's always money flow is the filter that keeps you on the right side of the trades to understand whether you should be looking to long the lows or short the lower highs, right? Long the higher lows or short the lower highs. So now that we're past that, tap off that value area low, little correction. Well, higher low, higher high. No surprise there based off money flow. And we've pulled into the full from the high here at 23 cents all the way to the low. We're now tapping into that golden pocket. Definitely a bit of resistance here. And again, would I be looking for the lower high, right? If you're looking at this from a high time frame perspective, right? Am I looking for something like this? Again, Fibonacci retracement, golden pocket 786. Would I expect a lower high and a lower low for a breaking structure of the downside? Somebody tell me in the chat. I'll zoom in on the money flow here for you. Are we expecting this, or would we expect something like that? Exactly. Shout out to Jesse. He said money flow's coming up. We're not looking for the lower high. Shout out to Jesse. Thank you for that. But, of course, this is going to be some kind of resistance, so just be aware. Break above the golden pocket. Look to go to the 786. Could see turbulence, but at this point, your local levels of key support are going to be, and actually, let me extend this to the current price action. Doesn't really change much, but I will update this. Actually, let me pull this on the... Yeah, it's the same thing. So, yeah. Doesn't really move the levels too much, but just understand... Come on, profile, there we go, right? So you have your golden pocket, value area low, confluence. You also have your overall volume profile up here, which you could use for context if you do break above that golden pocket for the roadmap on the local price action. But I would say, definitely resistance here. Value area low, golden pocket. Just understand every time you approach a value area low, it is resistance until broken. Once you get above it, once you get above the value area low, you're going to be looking towards the POC, which sits right here at 18 cents, 0.1866. And once you break above the golden pocket, you're eventually anticipating the 786 to come in, which is also confluent with the value area high. So if you're looking for local levels, if you do break above that value area low, this would probably be the roadmap for price action, right? It's not going to play out exactly like this, but flip the let me actually get a line on that value area low. And, and on that value area high, right? So if you get above here, flip the golden pocket, flip the value area low. You could look to come to the POC, flip the POC. You're pushing up to the 786 and value area high for two reasons, right? Flip the value area low, eventual targets value area high. Flip the golden pocket, eventual targets the 786. But this POC might give you a little turbulence, right? And when we look at Ethereum, it's the same thing on that upper range. Right? You get up there, what happens? Resistance, pullback. Support on the previous value area high. Once you get in, POC, value area high, right? So it's the same theory, just a different asset. So there you go. Those are key levels that I'd be looking at to the upside. But again, just be careful. If you do pull back, I'd be looking at something very similar to Ethereum, where I would say, hey, let's pull a fib here from the low to the high. You have your golden pocket value area high confluence. So I would just mark that out like this. So your local key level of support here on Crow. Did I say link before? Hopefully not. If you do get the rejection here, just understand you have red dot looking to print on the daily. Pullbacks in to retest this would not be the worst thing in the world. And again, very similar to what we saw on Ethereum. I can't guarantee that's exactly what will happen. If you lose that 786 at 13 cents, right, you'd probably be looking lower. But for now, key level of support, value area high sitting at 14 cents, right? 14.71. Golden pocket sits, 14 cents, right? That's like your big level of support. 786 sits down here at about 13 cents. Once you lose that 786, you might be able to get a bigger continuation down. But hopefully, we get to see something like what Ethereum did. Retest the high if we have to come down there, right? Retest the high, get back in here, and then fill the upper range. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Crow. Let's see. Shout out to All Set in the chat. What is going on? Jesse says, I'm going to load up a lot in the first 2 weeks of October. Let's go. Shout out to Jesse. Can we take a look at Uniswap? I will write it down. I will try my best to look at as many altcoins as we can. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get to them all, but I will try my best. Says he's in a 50x long. Shout out to, who said it? Thomas. Shout out to Thomas. I will take a look at that for you, no problemo. All right, let's continue on here. Just make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. Need TARS to pump. Yeah, I mean, we took a look at TARS yesterday. Where is it at? Where we at? I always click on TIA first. Yeah, I mean, TARS is the same. I'm not going to cover this. You got key resistance here. 9 cents to 11 cents. Major resistance. We have Fibonacci levels, value area low, POC. Even your anchored VWAP is sitting up here at about 8 cents, 0.088, almost 9 cents. Big resistance. Bigger support, guys. You did not, and I'm just going to cover this. I'm not going to cover this in full. This does look a lot different than a lot of other things. It's generally trending up, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. 2-day money flow, very close to crossing over into the green. But I will say, you don't want to lose this 786. You have some other lower levels, but from a context standpoint, this 786 is huge. You have the weekly MPOC. That's where I have it marked off as a key level. You lose 5 cents, you're probably going to get a bigger drop to the downside, my personal opinion. You have a high volume node at 0.044 and a daily level at 0.038. Hopefully you bounce there, but you really don't want to lose this level. I can't stress that enough, and it's because of the context of the Fibonacci retracement. Come on, baby. Come on. Take a look at some of the lower time frames here. 10-hour money flow crossing over into the green, which would be good if we had a weekly green dot, and we do, which is nice. So green dot with the 10-hour money flow crossover into the green. I believe is a market cipher B116 strategy. So hopefully we could see this continuation up. The one nice thing about the tap of the 786 is like this is a good level to bounce off of, right? So you get the bounce off the 786, which is literally you held it by the skin of your teeth. But now 10-hour money flow is coming up, indicating a potential continuation of the trend to the upside. And that weekly green dot, you really want to get away from this level, guys. So hopefully, you do have some things here on the some of the medium time frames pointing towards that. You really want to start getting cooking here. You don't want to come back down to 5 cents. I will just say that one more time. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Goshtio Pro. Shout out to you, man. I'm sure I butchered that name, but thank you for the super chat / super sticker. I can't tell. There's no text. Johnny 500 says, can we take a look at Toshi, please? Thank you for the super chat, bro. I will try. We have quite a long list of altcoins here. Quick reminder, guys, please do not super chat your altcoins. I mean, you can, but just understand there is no guarantee that we will look at it. We just might run out of time, but I will try my best to get to as many as I possibly can. Shout out to Jay Edit said Benjamin Cowan talks about bleeding back to I assume alts bleeding back to Bitcoin. It's September during a pullback. How do you feel about that? Shout out to Jay Edits. It's actually crazy you say that. I don't know if you just tuned in, but we actually just talked about that, right? If we get the rate cuts in September and it's like a sell the news event, if he's looking for a pullback in September, that would kind of line up with my thesis of potentially getting a slight sell the news event, getting another pullback. But again, might just take a little bit of time to see that liquidity flow into the alts. So that would kind of line up. And again, if I pull up that Bitcoin chart, where's it at, right? No, where's that time fib? Did I delete it? I might have deleted it, guys. Come on. Of course, I did. All right. Well, we were looking at that like October level, that October 20th fib time level. I don't know if you'd call it a level, but it would make sense, right? I'll just mark off October. I'll just mark it off here like this, October 20th, right? So yeah, I mean, like there's still room to chop around here a little bit. Maybe put a new all-time high in. Maybe you chop around, right? Get the correction on the alts. But again, I don't know. I actually wouldn't be looking at it like that. But, September, let me keep an eye on the dates here, right? Still time to pull back. And obviously we're looking at Bitcoin, but like still gives you time, right? If this is the alts pulling back, if we were looking at like Total 3 or something or others, yeah, could still, again, like the alt season typically happens right at the end of the bull market, right? So it would honestly be nice if you get that pullback, guys. Like if we start moving first and then we get a sell the news event on the rate cuts or something like that, or we get a black swan, could give another opportunity to get into alts before the true alt season starts, which would be very nice. Let's see. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. Said, testing a new super chat strategy. Frankie, can we look at no more altcoins? Yo, shout out to Tony D. Tony, did you get my link price prediction video memo? I don't know if you wrote that down or not. But shout out to Perry. Thank you for the super chat. Said, New Bedford, MA, checking in. Let's go. Shout out to you, brother. Not too far away from New York. Says, salute to the CandleMafia. Let's go. Shout out to Perry. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. Shout out to Santa Maria Developers. I'm just going to guess that's what the rest of that name says. It says, XDC, please. We will try. We will try. We have quite the list of altcoins. We will try XDC. But if we don't get it, we'll try to cover them in the next live stream for you. Yo, shout out to Alan. Said, I would super chat, but I need that money for more alt. Shout out to Alan. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, so we took a look at Link. We took a look at Crow. Let's take a quick look at VeChain. It's the last one on the list, and then we'll jump into some of the other requests here. So, yeah, again, front ran that value area low. Not my favorite thing, but you are holding your 786 here, which is a local 786 from the impulse to the high. You stick that 786. We're back above the POC. Let's see here, 16-hour money flow actually looks like it's coming out, but you do have the green dot. And just to put this into perspective, guys, I'll just go long-term here. All right, like for long-term spot bags, right? Like I'm not personally looking to accumulate VeChain or more VeChain, I should say. I do hold some. Just to put it into perspective here, guys, weekly money flow, very interesting here. Honestly, what you would want to see here is money flow in the red and then a nice little crossover into the green. Oh, no, this is the monthly. That's why. Oh, no. Okay, so weekly, never mind. Weekly is doing what you want it to do. I was going to say, that looks way different than everything else. But you do have what? You have a technical bullish divergence to the bodies of your candles. Lower lows, higher lows. Weekly bullish divergence is very nice. It has given you a rip to the upside. Money flow is trending up, which could make you look for higher lows and higher highs. This is the 786 that we just bounced off of recently is the first level you could have bounced off of, right? Which is pretty nice that we're getting a reaction there. We're holding the POC, but technically you could look, right? We're already bouncing off this zone, so I will just move this down in case and yeah, you did tap that golden pocket. So I'll just look at it from this perspective. Bullish divergence, bounce, money flow comes up. You could anticipate a continuation of that trend to the upside. The aggressive bounce would be from the POC golden pocket. I'll even separate this because that's zone number one. We've tapped it. That could be good for a higher low, which would make you anticipate a potential higher high. And then your next target to the upside would be the value area high at 0.032. If you have to come back down, I would say 786 would be the line in the sand. 2 cents, lose 2 cents, you're probably coming back down to the value area low. So that's what I would look for. You know, potential higher low here, especially with money flow coming up, could push you into the value area high. But if you have to come back down and break this golden pocket, you're just simply going to look down towards that 786. Lose the 786. We look to crack this low into the value area low at 1 cent, right? 0.01792. Pretty basic there. Yeah, three-day money flow continuing up. 2-day money flows crossed over into the green, which would also be nice. So, yeah, same sentiment, long-term. Those are the key levels I would be looking at. Not much else to cover there on VeChain, to be quite honest. If you do break out of this range, just understand your next volume profile or value area low or doorway to higher prices sits at 0.04079. Flip that to support. You can look to travel through that profile into the high. So there you go. You could screenshot this to get the POC in the value area high. Those are the levels I'd be looking at on VeChain. Other than that, looks very similar to everything else. Just got to watch that red dot on the weekly for another pullback. But if we do, at the end of the day, see this from a, excuse me, higher time frame. Yeah, like you hold the 786 there. Yeah, I would say you kind of want to hold this, to be honest. I wouldn't be horrible to go to the value area low, but I would really prefer to bounce from here. Monthly green dot also incoming, which is another thing that we've been looking at on all of the altcoins. You don't have it on Ondo. You don't have it on virtuals. I got to find something with enough price history here. Yeah, like monthly green dot. Like these are pretty good signs on altcoins as well. Link with the monthly green dot. We talked about that as it was printing. Now it's confirmed. XRP, same thing. Monthly green dot printing. Right? All the signs were here. The writing was on the wall, guys. The writing was on the wall. And the charts were right once again. Let's see. XRP. We did not do XRP. I could jump into XRP real quick. I forgot to cover that. That's typically something we cover every day. So XRP, again, not really a super big update here, right? We're still holding that anchored VWAP / golden pocket retracement pulled from the impulse here. I deleted this yesterday, so I will just put it back on the chart, right? So, again, this would be in the case of an aggressive higher low. Yeah, I would say this is the aggressive area to bounce. But again, if we get some kind of crazy, surprising drop to the downside, guys, and we have to retest this golden pocket, I would not expect it to hold as support again. I would be looking for a break of that level into our biggest zone, which we've been looking at as we were topping out here in our Fibonacci retracement levels with our bearish divergences here, at least on the 4-hour, higher highs, lower highs, into a key level of resistance. That's where you're looking for a pullback. But again, with your higher time frame money flow, such as the 2-day crossing into the green, those pullbacks are looked at as higher lows and higher highs to come. We could be putting in the higher low here on the local golden pocket. It does look good as of right now. We're back above the anchored VWAP. Big level. But if we get some kind of crazy shocker rip to the downside, just understand we still have that biggest level that we were accepting that we could pull back to, sitting between 260 and 250, and that still does live below naked and ready to hold us up. Break down below it. Last line in the sand is going to be 230. If we lose 230, I'm looking lower. But right now, looking very good, right? So we could just have the higher low come in on the local golden pocket. If not, we look at the full golden pocket retracement, which is pulled from the low to the high. There's no guarantee you have to test that full golden pocket. That's why we always have these local levels. And sure enough, that's where we get the bounce from, right? So you just have to be aware. If we didn't get a reaction from this level, we would have looked down here. But we did get the reaction, which looks good for a potential higher low, higher high, which next target to the upside for XRP, in my opinion, is once we break above here, new all-time highs, big targets here at 417 up to 453. And if you want to see my higher targets for XRP, you could check out the price prediction video that I shot a couple weeks ago. You'll find it on the channel. And we cover all, like, kind of my full expectation for the bull market on XRP if we do see alt season come in. So there we go. Shout out to Mark S. Thank you for getting that membership. Welcome to the muscle, my friend. Let's go. So let's go ahead and don't forget to smash the like button, guys. I don't think I said that today. We got to catch up. Everybody smash the like button at one time here. 1, 2, 3. Smash that like button right now. Let's run it up. Let's go for 700 likes. I don't know where we're at right now. We're going to have to catch up. But smash that like button and get us those likes back. Man, I got to start pushing the likes way more. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at. Shout out to Keely. Says, Frankie, can you show me how to pull the anchored VWAP? I totally can. If you go to the beginner series, I have a full tutorial, not only where to pull the anchored VWAPs from, but how to use them to find large trend changes in the market on high time frames, as well as using it to find key levels to look at for sniper entries. So go check that out. It's in the beginner series, I believe. So if you just go in there, you'll see it. XRP price prediction video. There's the XRP price prediction video. Tony, if you could drop the anchored VWAP video as well, I would greatly appreciate you. Let's see. Shout out to Matans. Says, hey, Frankie, is there a coupon code for the yearly subscription to Frankie Candles Trading? I assume you mean the premium Discord. I don't believe we have any. I don't think we have any discounts running right now. But let's see. Maybe. Tony, maybe we'll do something like that. If ETH, man, what should we set here? Let's, if we hit 750 likes. I also don't know the logistics behind this, so as long as Tony D says it's possible. If we get 700 likes, we'll do like 10 discount codes for the premium Discord. I don't know what the discounts will be, but we'll make it fair. So there you go. We don't have any running right now, I don't believe, though. All right, so let's continue on here. Let's take a look at XMR. Just go through some of these other requests. Just take a look. Oh, he's asking if annual is cheaper. Yes, annual is the cheapest way to do it. You'll save the most amount of money. Tony, maybe you can drop the details on like how much you actually save. So yeah, there will be a deal with annual, but no like specific coupon codes. Okay, so let's take a look here at XMR on Bybit. Do we have an XMR chart? We must. Hang on. There it is. All right, so let's take a look here. So, I don't know what happened to this profile. What is going on here? Okay, I don't know why that was glitching out like that. Interesting. What the heck? All right, interesting. Let me just re-pull a fresh profile here. I don't know why that did that. All right, so I'll just drag this down slightly. Actually, I'm going to keep it here. I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to find that exact candle that I pulled that from now. Dude, what is going on with these volume? What is this? TradingView tweaking right now. The heck? All right, guys. Well, volume profile is just broken right now. I've never seen this happen as long as I've been using the volume profiles. That's a TradingView glitch. Interesting. Luckily, I do have the levels marked out here, right? So we do have the value area high. We do have the POC. And we do have the value area low. Okay. That's wild. I've never seen that happen before. But you get above the value area low. You push into the POC. You get the pullback. You break above the POC. Next stop is the value area high. We have now hit that. And we have come down. First key level to look at was that golden pocket for a higher low. Did not hold up, so I will just take that off the chart. Got totally melted through. So your next key level is going to be sitting right here. POC, 786 Fibonacci retracement. We haven't looked at this in forever, but I guess it took us a while to get down to this level. 235.76 down to the POC at 227.20. This is your next big key level of support. And this fib is pulled from the higher low to the high. So if you lose that 786, I would 100% be targeting, right? You're hoping for a bounce there, right? For a higher low and an eventual break of structure to the upside. But if you lose that 786 and can't get back above it, we're simply going to look towards that value area low because that would invalidate the idea of putting in the higher low. And it would also be the fulfill of your volume profile, right? You could always potentially bounce off the POC, right? Like we saw locally on Bitcoin, even when you look at it from a lower time frame. Bitcoin just still wiggling around up here. But you can see, you break out, you test the POC, you get the bounce. Could we break out here potentially? But when we take a look at XMR, definitely a big area to look at with the confluence on the 786. But if you break it, clear invalidation, right? If you lose it, you're looking down towards that POC for the fulfill of the range. And again, it just invalidates the the higher low. And you would expect, once breaking that 786, to crack structure to the downside, which if you're going to do that, you'd be pushing right into the value area low. So I'm not saying you have to come down here. It's an if this, then that, right? Because you could totally bounce here. But if you don't, definitely looking down here. So that's what I look at on XMR. Daily money flow in the red here, which was a beautiful indication of the lower high and the lower low. Locally, high, low, lower high, lower low. Money flow comes out. That would be your anticipation. 2-day money flow coming out. Interesting. I mean, kind of flat, to be honest. 3-day money flow coming out, though. 4-day money flow coming out. 5-day money flow kind of flat, I would call that. 6-day money flow, locally trending out, but pretty much flat. Weekly money flow coming out as well. So your hope here is that once you get this weekly green dot, if you push down in here, hold it as support, you really want that green dot to drag your money flow back up with it. It would be very interesting for me. This is kind of going against a lot of the other altcoins, right? You get the weekly money flow crossover all the way back here, right? Indicates the trend will continue up, which you did get, and you got a pretty massive move to the upside from there, right? You get the 209% pump, so pullbacks are to be expected, but you really want to see this money flow cook back to the upside. You have a lot of money flow coming out here on the higher time frames. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Does look a little bit different, but those are definitely going to be the key levels. Value area low sits at 177.20, and then the POC 786 sits between 237 and 227.10. So there we go. That's what I'm looking at on XMR. Next on the list, we do have Cookie. Let's take a look at Cookie real quick. Cookie. Let's take a look. I think we made a Cookie chart here recently. There it is. Let's go ahead. Take a look here. All right. 2-day. Yeah, so just looking at the higher time frame money flow, I just like to check in on this for the health of the overall trend. There's that key level, which was the 786 of the entire move up here, right? This is key. If you're going to put in a higher low, low, high, higher low, higher high, that's obviously not going to play out perfectly like that. You're going to have a lot of chop. But if you wanted that to hold, this was your key level. We did end up holding that, which is very, very nice. We're now back inside our volume profile now, right? So if you bounce here, you're going to be looking to come up to the value area low, which is your doorway to higher prices, but also resistance until proven otherwise. You bounce off the 786, rejected. You actually got double support here on the 786, which is not common. I've talked about this all the time, but it does happen here. It is a higher low. Not too bad. You reclaim. Where's the next likely place for price to go from here? Well, you're just looking up towards the POC, the magical magnetic forces of the volume profile playing out perfectly there. You get the resistance at the POC. We're attempting to hold this. So I would say your doorway to higher prices at this point is going to be your point of control sitting at 16 cents. Get above here. It does open up that bigger target to the value area high. And sometimes you can play around with these value area lows. So the idea here is to just remain support, keep support above 15 cents, flip the POC at 16 cents, and then send it up to 22 cents at the value area high. You do have a lot of levels up here, right? You have another volume profile sitting right here, which is probably going to give you a little bit of turbulence if you want some local kind of like what is the roadmap to the journey into that value area high. Overall, you're expecting the full rotation of the range if you could hold above that POC. But it's not going to be a clean move like this, very likely, right? It's probably going to be something like this, and then you pull back. Oh, my God, it's all, oh, wait, hang on, right? It's going to be very confusing, and you can use that volume profile that I just pulled here to kind of identify that. But long-term, right, thought process is here, flip the POC, start your journey to the value area high, right? It's not always clean. And again, just look at Ethereum, right? You expect breaking this to fill the whole range, right? But look at this long journey. You get months of ranging, dip back to the low, but eventually you do fill it in full. So there you go. Coming back to Cookie. Where's it at? There we go. So yeah, value area low at 15 cents, POC at 16 cents, value area high at 22 cents. And then market cipher-wise, I would say this looks very similar to everything else. You have your daily money flow. Red dot looking to print, so maybe a little turbulence, but you know, money flow headed in the right direction there. 2-day money flow in the green. 3-day money flow trying to trend up there. Not as clean as some other things. Let's check the 4-day. Yeah, 4 days just totally countering everything else. Like it's I don't know why the 4-day looks like this, guys. I don't know why. But 5-day money flow in the green dot looking to print, 6-day money flow in the red, and no information on the weekly. So yeah, generally, right, rising tides lifts all ships. So, you know, if we see everything else start to pop off, you know, this will probably follow. But those would be the key levels I'd be looking at. If you lose this 786, you have a daily just underneath you, sitting at 12 cents. But once you lose that, you'd probably be looking to come back down to this bigger zone between 10 and 10 to 9 cents, right? You have massive MPOCs here. 3 dailies and a monthly. So there you go. All right, so let's see. Check it out in chat real quick. Yo, shout out to Jesse. Said, getting something to drink to lower my blood sugar further. BRB. Shout out to Jesse. Let's go. Shout out to Jesse. Let's go. Happy birthday, bro. How can I find a retracement on Solana? Go after today pump on the short term. Shout out to Priochi. I'm not sure if I fully understand that question. If you could reword it and pop it back in there, I will try to answer it for you. Let's see here. Put the cookie down now. Shout out to Alan. Let's see here. So we did Cookie, we did VeChain. Let's take a look at Uni. A little Uni. Let's take a look. All right. No, we have a Uni chart here somewhere. Binance, no. Bybit, no. Where's our Uni chart at? All right, maybe we don't have a Uni chart. Am I tripping? All right, well, we might have to start a new one here, guys. Oh, no, there we are. Okay. Too many charts. All right, let's see here. Yeah, and just to show, right, on some of those other altcoins with the front run of the value area low, reclaim that POC. It does not mean, right, there's no guarantee you have to come down to those value area lows. I just like to keep you aware that if you do get the breakdown, right, that level does sit there. But you can see here, right, flip the POC back to the value area high, you reclaim POC, and then you eventually get the breakout. So right now, I would say, and you actually, this is nice, you flip this monthly MPOC to support. Look at that. This is major resistance, or was major resistance between the monthly MPOC and the weekly MPOC. You rejected the weekly, broke above it, flipped it to support, pushed up to the monthly, flipped it to support, and now you're sending it to the upside. So very nice to see those big levels broken. And I would say the next big level to look at would be here. Full Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low. You have a monthly MPOC up here, golden pocket, and your 786. So I would actually separate these. So I would say your next big target to the upside on Uni is going to be sitting on the monthly MPOC in the golden pocket between 13.17 and 14.25. Break above that. Maybe do the same thing that you did on the last monthly, which is break above it, flip it to support, and then send it up to the 786. So first zone, going to be sitting here between 13.17 and 14.25. 786 sits at 16.31. So break above the 7.8 golden pocket, monthly MPOC. 786 would be next. And then after that, you could start to look to crack into these much, much more significant ranges up here towards the 2021 bull market range, with your value area high at 31.36 and your value area low at 17.95. POC sits right here at 25.85. So from a long-term context here, right, your thought process is this is your major doorway to higher prices. We've already broken out of this range. Here's your one area of balance. Here's your next major area of balance. As long as you can cook through here, reclaim the value area low, you would look to fill this range. But right now, just be aware. Definitely have this resistance ahead of you, right? So if you're going to get big retracements, maybe it happens at this level or this level, but overall continuation based off the higher time frame money flow. 2-day healthy in the green, 3-day just popping into the green, 4-day doing its own thing, but you do have the green dot, 5-day in the green, 6-day in the green, weekly in the green, right? So could get pullbacks, but just be aware. That's your next key levels of resistance, and overall, I would be looking for higher lows and higher highs. Biggest level of resistance below is going to be the value area high at 827. Break down below there. Yikes. So there you go. Do we have any confluence there? Let's pull it. Probably not on the full fib. Not quite. But if you pull it from the impulse here, you do have a little bit of confluence there. Let's check the daily. Yeah, I would say watch that value area high at 822. If you get a big correction here, that's going to be major support. So there you go. You can even see the break, the flip, the continuation. So there we go. You also do have some bearish divergences here as well, right? Higher highs, lower highs on your daily. If you get that red dot to print, could give you the cool off, but you do still have those major targets ahead of you. So there you go. Long term, though, looks pretty good. Let's see. Oh, shout out to Priochi says, how low or deep can a retracement go on Solana after today's pump on the shorter time frames? Well, it depends on how low time frame you want to go there. I would say, your local kind of off this impulse here. I'll just pull this full fib. Yeah, personally, right, I would prefer to just stay inside this volume profile. So 184 is going to be key support. If you had to deviate below, the retracement of this entire move, golden pocket at 181, 786 at 177. Once you break down below that 786, if you have to, right? I'm not saying you have to. I would really prefer if you have to pull back to stay inside the profile. But if you did have to come back down in here, I would say this 786 here at 177.69. Losing that would probably make me look back down towards the value area high. So there you go. That would be like the local retracement. But again, you can pull it up on like a 1 minute, right? It's like, it depends on how low time frame you want to go. But I would say the biggest support here is the value area high at 184. Let's see here. Yo, shout out to G-Dub in the chat, said, Frankie, what's up, brother? Shout out to G-Dub. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, man. So let's see. We took a look at Uni, VeChain, Cookie, XMR. Let's take a look at XDC. It's going to take me a second to find the right chart. Where is it going to be? Bitstamp? Maybe we don't have an XDC chart. This might be Bybit spot. I'm just going to take this chart, though. Okay, so I will give you local levels on XDC. Let's pull this profile here. Value area low, POC, value area high. And you can see before I even pulled those, you can just see, guys, the volume profiles are insane. It's like I just pulled this. Look at the respect. Resistance, flip it to support, next stop, POC. You barely even mess around with the POC. You just basically shot up to the value area high. Insane, right? Always going to be key resistance. always going to be key resistance until proven otherwise. Once you flip it, you look for the full fill of the range. This is like an infinite money glitch, to be honest with you. It's like the volume profiles are insane. As long as you understand the context here, right? Because like what was happening here? Daily money flow crossover into the green. And even before we entered this volume profile, like I said before, undervalued price. Once you get above here, what's happening? Money flows crossing into the green. The anticipated trend continuation is going to be to the upside. And because you're inside that magnetic power of the volume profile, the fill of that range is very high probability. It's not, if you got in here and money flow was coming out, you would expect resistance, right? But when you have this stuff lining up, the fill of these ranges is insanely high probability. And as of right now, we're rejecting the value area high and the POC, right? So if we cannot get back above this POC, maybe you get the bigger retracement back down to the value area low. Key levels of support. 7 cents at the value area low. POC is your key level of resistance directly above you at 9 cents. And then that value area high at 10 cents is your next key level above the POC, right? That's your volume profile. You can mark this off on your chart. If we get a move down, you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to get interaction with that value area low, right? So yeah, it's like, again, you don't have to get that full fill of the range, but the fact that you're below the POC, it's like the way these work. Reject the value area high, can't break out. Once you lose the POC, like next likely place for price to go is the value area low. So unless you flip this POC back to support and start getting out of here quickly, you could look for that to be your next key level of support. See if we have any confluence there. Let's pull it from the low to the high. Look at that. So I'm actually going to make this a range, or not a range, but a zone of support sitting between 7 and 6.5 cents, 0.073 and 0.065. If you get that continuation down, right, maybe you deviate below, but you really just don't want to lose that 786. Once you lose that 786, you're looking to crack this low. So if you have to get a rotation back down to the low, you just line in the sand for me would be about 6.5 cents. You do not want to lose that. And for what it's worth, let me actually take a look here at our visible range volume profile. Yeah, I mean, you do have high volume node down here. Yeah, not really a big gap here. You have a lot of high volume nodes in there, so you do have some levels below you as well. But if this was just a massive low volume gap with like no spikes in volume, this would be like a very key level to hold, right? Because if this was a massive volume gap, we all know sometimes quick moves up can mean quick moves down if you have a massive gap, which you do technically. You have a high volume node, big gap, high volume node, but you do have all these other intermediary kind of like spikes in volume that could help support you. So not like the most critical level ever, but I would definitely say if you lose this, you're looking to crack this low at 5 cents. So there you go. Take a look at the 2-day money flow in the green, VWAP below the 0 line. 3-day money flow attempting to head in the right direction here. You're getting a little turbulence, but generally trending in the right direction. 4-day just doing its completely own thing. It's like you have a fresh 4-day money flow crossover into the red, but your 5-day money flow is thick in the green. That makes 0 sense to me. I've never seen that happen before. I do not know why that's happening. It's like totally opposite of what the other time frames are saying. 6-day money flow in the green, and your weekly money flow also just starting to crack into the green, which is a very good high time frame signal. So, guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time. I didn't realize it was 7:40 already. It's insane. Guys, it's insane. The time flies when you're hanging out with the Mafia. I always try to like keep these somewhat rewatchable so they're not 2.5 hours long. But we always go long, but we got to cover those altcoins. But we are out of time, so thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. ETH going crazy. Let's go. Shout out to Watch Me Fly. Yeah, ETH continuing to push up here. Dang, baby. And just real quick, guys, before you go, I will just give you those local levels of resistance to look at so you don't have to scrub back to the beginning of the stream if you're just now tuning in. Next major level, or local level, would be between 47.54 and 48.70. Break above that, we're looking at about 42.35 up to about $5,800 at our macro bull market target. Let's go. Shout out to ETH, baby. Shout out to Usman, said CME gap filled before all-time highs. I guess I'll just recap Bitcoin here real quick as well. Am I showing the screen here? Okay, cool. So yeah, a CME gap sitting down here at the value area low. If we do not get the squeeze up here, guys, I am long from here in the premium disc with the premium Discord. But if we get back into this range, lose this POC, CME gap sits right on that value area low, which is also confluent with many other levels, daily MPOC, daily horizontal, weekly MPOC. So this is, again, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get my full thoughts on Bitcoin. We looked at it at the beginning of the stream as we do every day. That's the biggest level of support in my opinion. So if we do have to go fill that CME gap, still a decent place to be looking. This will definitely be a place where I will be looking for long positions. So holding the one short, if that happens, it'll pay out on the short. I'll stop out of the local long position. If we cook from here, I have multiple longs plus the one we took yesterday in the Discord. Those will all continue to pay me out. But if we do get the bigger drop down to that CME gap, a lot of support down there, a lot of confluence, I will be looking for longs. And then if we lose that level, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Smash that like button, guys. I don't know what we have right now, but if we have 550 or more, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats on the giveaways on Friday. And we'll all, as always, be giving away 10 bags of Ada. And if we get 1,000 likes on a live stream sometime this week, we'll give away $250 in Solana. So with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Come on, Bitcoin. Go up. Go up. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
I probably shouldn't be drinking black coffee at 7:41 p.m. See you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put